We're going to go ahead and call this council meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is we have selected our city clerk, Katie McPeak. We're excited to have her as part of the London City family. I believe she's going to be a great asset to our team. So the first thing we're going to do is ask for a motion to confirm her appointment as city clerk.
I make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Philpott,
Yes.
Miss Little,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Jervis.
Yes.
Miss Green.
Welcome to the family, Ms. McPeak. Next thing we need to do is have her sworn in, so we're going to go ahead and get that out of the way so she can officially do her job.
And it was a unanimous vote, so you started off with. Right here, so Willie can see you. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, as long as you are a citizen of the Commonwealth, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of City Clerk of the City of London, according to law? And do you further solemnly swear or affirm that since the adoption of the present Constitution, and while you've been a citizen of this Commonwealth, you've not fought a duel with deadly weapons within the Commonwealth, nor out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you accepted a second in carrying a challenge, nor have you aided or abetted or assisted any person thus offending. So help you God. Do you so swear or affirm?
I do.
Congratulations.
Next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from April the 3rd and April the 10th. I can get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion we approve those minutes.
Second?
I second.
Roll call.
Mr. Philpott,
Yes.
Miss Little,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench.
Yes.
Mr. Jervis.
Yes.
Miss Green.
Yes.
Next thing on the agenda is we have Robert Abner here with the audit report. He's going to fill you guys in from the audit.
Can we turn the air off? I don't know if that's random, but would that suit everybody? It's a little bit cool in here.
He's doing it right now.
All right. All right, thanks. Sorry about that, Robert.
Mayor Willis said, my name's Robert Abner with Abner and Cox. I know most everyone here. We appreciate the opportunity that you've given us over the last many years to provide audit services and other consulting as you've needed it, and we really appreciate that relationship that we've had. We'll go over this financial statement pretty quickly. I know you have a lot on the agenda, so we'll try to keep it brief, but feel free to stop me at any time to answer any questions you might have. The first thing I'll bring up is there's certain things that we're required to bring to your attention, and we'll go over those real quickly. All financial statements have an element of estimates. So we're required to bring that to your attention, and when you look at the estimates that affect the City of London, it's primarily the depreciation of your fixed assets. Those are over estimated lives, which could be different from what that you actually are able to, the life of them. The other is the proportion of the unfunded liability for your pension, and that's a thing that's been going on now. We've talked about many times, and the amount of your portion of that it's based upon a lot of things that change. which there's a lot of, they based on projected interest rates and things of that nature. So those just, they're not going to hit it, and that is a primary, one of your primary disclosures. The other disclosures that we'll touch base with are your long-term debt. We'll talk about that real briefly. And one thing, I'll back up and say that there were no accounting pronouncements or policies that were adopted this year that needed to be adopted. We feel like all of your policies are up to date and complete. We're required to bring to your attention if there was any difficulties or misunderstandings with that were not corrected. That was not the case. These financial statements have been corrected to our knowledge to be materially correct, which is what the opinion is that we're to issue. There were no disagreements with management, and management has provided us with representations of some of the things that we're required to have them address. The first thing I'll go over is the primary, I guess the final product of an audit is the auditor's opinion. So if you go to page 1, you'll see that the independent auditor's report is here, and it's got a lot of different information in that report, but the main, I guess the most important part of it is our opinion, and our opinion is based upon materiality. And when we say materiality, it's calculated at the level of your revenue of your the level of your assets. So there's a lot of things that go into it. So when we're making an opinion on your financial statements, it is based upon that materiality. So we feel like these financial statements are materially correct, and there were nothing that would cause us to modify our opinion. So therefore, it's considered an unmodified opinion. And that's what you've had in the last, as long as I've been doing it. Over on page 4, we'll hit this real quickly. The fund we'll speak to most here is the government funds, which is primarily your general fund. It's where most of your revenue flows through. And you can see on that page that your total current assets of $8,679,000, and you can see what it's comprised of. And approximately $5.9 million of it is in cash and cash equivalents. And a lot of that has to do with some of the stimulus money that had been handed out, and still governments are finding ways to spend their resources on what the things that they're allowed to spend it on. So when you compare the total current assets over to the current liabilities on page 5, you can see your current liabilities are $1,000,002, which basically consist of your long-term debt that is considered to be current within the next 12 months, and your accounts payable and other accrued expenses. The bottom part of these financial statements goes into the deferred inflows and outflows related to GASB 68, which is the unfunded pension and insurance. And there's a lot of information there that I don't see a need to go too deep into. The disclosures that I mentioned just a few minutes ago that we will touch on is over on page, let me find my page number here, page 23. One of the major assets on your financial statements have to do with your fixed assets. Fixed assets would encompass all of the land and improvements, buildings, infrastructure, equipment, vehicles, and things of that nature. So as you can see on page 23 that the balance at the beginning of the year at historical cost was $34 million, and at the end of June of 22, $35,396,000. And you can see the depreciation that follows it on the next section down. So you come down to what your net assets are, and keep in mind these are capital assets, and basically it's everything that you own. The business type activities are mentioned here. We won't go over that. That is basically related to the Utility Commission. There were some things that took place after the fiscal year and we're looking at that we'll have to look at that next year, that the Utility Commission may not be a part of these financial statements going forward. One of the other disclosures that I mentioned was, it starts on page 25. Note 9 discusses the long-term debt. As you can see, at the beginning of the year, there was $1,065,000, and at the end of June 30th of 22, $978,000. So there were no new additions to long-term debt. Then over on page 26, it shows there's a table that we're required to include. It talks about the future cash outlay for your long-term debt. As you can see, for a city this size and the city with this budget, that's a very, very manageable debt. Note number 10 is also considered debt, even though it may be referred to as a capital lease. Those are generally, if they're going to exercise it and it's going to be at a bargain price, those are really treated as if it was debt, but they are shown separately. So you can see at the beginning of the year you had $923,000 in the capital lease outstanding, and then at the end of 22 you had $769,644. As far as the findings go, there's one finding that we've talked about many, many times, and it relates to the lack of segregation of duties, which is common in most of the entities that we deal with. Because of the limited number of staff in certain areas, it's very difficult to segregate all of the duties that need to be performed. So that is something that has been here. The way around that would be to hire additional people or to work toward departmentalizing things that could be moved to other people, to where that one person doesn't have the capability of doing more than what would be considered an internal control strength. So that's what I have, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Also, I know it's a lot to digest because there is a lot of information in there. I'd be glad to come back at a future meeting if you would like, or if you would like to contact me, feel free to at any time, and I can address any specific questions that you might have.
Council, you have any questions at this time?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it, Robert. Next thing we have on the agenda is Chelsea Philpott. The homecoming parade. Not here. All right, we'll move on. Next thing is Kim and the Chicken Festival.
Hi, everybody. Kim Collier, for those of you that may not know me, I forgot to give you these rec cards to pass out. I'm here for the World Chicken Festival just to kind of get your blessing on having the same street closures as we've had in the past. Nothing has changed. The festival is usually, the boundaries of the festival is from 3rd to Maple and from Hill to Long. So that's the rectangle that we use for the festival. You can't really expand in any direction because there's not room, so we've pretty much at the limit of can do with the World Chicken Festival. I've got Kelly Burton here with me. She is my co-coordinator of the World Chicken Festival, my partner in crime, maybe, Angelique Hatmaker. She is over our vendors and takes care of all of that. But we just wanted to make sure you guys were okay with everything that we have done in the past, and nothing will be new this year. And I also have a request for help from the street department on the usual things that they do to help us get ready. As you well know, this is a big festival. It's not a for-profit. It is a 501c4 nonprofit. And one of the things we take pride in is that every year we do not allow commercial food vendors. Every food vendor is a local nonprofit. Local means Laurel County, and we take a lot of pride in that because that's the biggest fundraiser for a lot of our nonprofits locally. And that's something that we like to kind of brag about because we think it's awesome. Another thing that we do is hire school groups and other nonprofits. The African American Heritage, they work for us during the festival to provide services because we don't have any staff. The festival has no staff. Our tourist commission coordinates the festival for them because they don't have staff. Kelly, did you want to say anything?
Just this morning, I've spoken a podcast. I have a couple meetings set up. Some other corporate sponsors that wanted to come on board. Of 30-plus years of being in the festival, definitely has made an impression, a positive impression for downtown London, and seeing that continue to grow. Maybe not outside the boundaries, but to grow in success and to continue to add on nonprofits as many as possible. That's probably the biggest strength and what makes the festival very unique compared to other festivals throughout Kentucky.
Angelique?
Absolutely not.
So what is the streets that you're going to need closed?
We will close from 3rd Street all the way to Maple, and then from Long Street at Maple to 3rd or to
Broad Street.
yeah,
Broad Street.
yeah, Broad Street, and then Broad Street from Maple and 3rd, and then the streets going 3rd Street from Long and Hill, 4th Street from Long and Hill, 5th Street from Long and Hill, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th from Long to Hill. And that's what we've done forever.
I was gonna ask, same as always.
Yes,
Same as always.
yes,
So
yes.
you're not asking for any additional
No,
street
nothing
closures?
new. Everything
Same
that
as-
we're requesting is the same.
Uniform like it.
So do you rent? Go ahead.
No. I just wanted it on record. The list that you guys have too, this is what she's asking for her help. This is what we're going to ask you guys to approve. Street closures plus this list. I didn't know if you had time to look at it during the council meeting here. But if you have, just need a motion to approve the street closures and us assisting with this list.
No, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
No, go ahead, Justin.
And then do a roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you so much. Who gets this fine piece of equipment?
Willie, he's the controller of the mic.
I will just a tidbit, the poster that we have, Missy, you have the sneak peek that is not released yet. As soon as I get the webpage updated, the next 24 to 48 hours, that will be released.
You all are
So
getting,
you all got that.
you are getting the lineup before anyone, so shh, don't tell.
When is it going public? Are you going
The
public?
next day or two.
As soon as I
Okay.
get the webpage, I'll,
You told the wrong bunch here, I'll tell you that.
thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next thing on the agenda is Mr. Chris from the Tourism Commission.
Thank you all. Also for road closures for Town Center, including May 19th for SLHS Band. They host an event there. So Fridays, May 19th, June 2nd, July 7th, August 4th, September 8th. So just like we have the last 3 years, just Hill Street right there behind the park, Maple between the park and the school, just for a few hours. And if the crowd does get big in the past, the officers do close 9th Street going up the hill. So it's just simple right there around the block.
Any questions? To him? We can get a motion to approve
I'll
road
make a
closure?
motion, we do that.
Second? Roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Thank you, Chris.
Ms.
Thank you
Little?
all.
Anything else you need to
Yes.
talk to
Mr.
him
Young?
about?
Yes.
Mr.
Not at this
Bench?
time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jervis? Ms. Green?
Yes.
Next thing we have that's, was late coming to the agenda, sponsored by Councilman Benj, is the food truck ordinance. You'll see that it's 2023-24. Should be at the top of your thing. We can get the city clerk to.
You should have the old ordinance, that is the one to be amended. And you should have the language that's being changed, the language that is being omitted is stricken through, the new language is underlined. I'll change the format of this before it gets published, but you have those changes and the old ordinance. And if it's agreeable with you all, if the city clerk could just read the changes that are being made, that may make it a lot simpler.
Do you agree with
Great,
that?
that's great, yes.
I'm good with that.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, City of London, ordinance number 2023-24, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2020-05 entitled An Ordinance for Mobile Self-Contained Food Unit Vendors, Food Trucks to Operate in Designated Public Areas and on Private Property, and providing for licensing compliance with ordinance and program requirements, hours of operation, insurance, all effective upon date of publication. Whereas changes have occurred and requests have been heard for amendments to be made to this food truck ordinance, the following amendments are being made. While on public property, the mobile unit can be stabilized with jack stands. However, the unit must be capable of being moved on short notice. The program shall also be limited to private property wherein the mobile self-contained unit vendor has a written agreement with the property owner, but not within 100 feet of any currently located restaurant other than another mobile unit. Licensees shall be allowed to lawfully operate between the hours of 6 a.m. and 12 a.m. No such vendors may locate or operate within an area zoned as a residential district under the City of London Development Ordinance, or within 100 feet of the property line of a dwelling unit located in an area zoned as residential district, except in city parks, or to have private events in residential zones such as weddings, birthday parties, reunions, etc. Such events, private events in residential zoned areas shall be limited to no more than 3 days at such location. Any ordinance or part of ordinances in conflict with the above language of this ordinance be and are hereby expressly repealed. The ordinance shall become effective immediately upon publication.
Does anybody got any questions with this one? Make a motion to approve first reading.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Next thing on the agenda is the second reading for the ordinance number 2023-11. This is the ordinance establishing the park, the RV parks and stuff, so that we've been working on this one. If we can get the clerk to read.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, City of London, a summary of City of London Ordinance Number 2023-11 entitled An Ordinance Establishing Parks, Lodgings as Campgrounds and Recreational Vehicle Use or Recreational Vehicle Parks, requiring City Council approval, definitions, conditions for recreational vehicles, communities, and parks in the City of London, Kentucky, minimum distance between each recreational vehicle, state approval, conflicting ordinances, and effective date. This summary of the above ordinance number 2023-11 is prepared by Larry G. Bryson, who is a licensed practicing attorney in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and is authorized to make this summary. This ordinance is authorized by Kentucky law pursuant to Kentucky Home Rule and the Kentucky Constitution and Kentucky statutes for health, safety, and welfare reasons. The Commonwealth of Kentucky has preempted certain areas of the regulation of recreational vehicles and parks and lodging related thereto. This ordinance is not intended to replace any state requirements or regulations. Applications relating to these subjects are to be filed with the City of London Building Inspector prior to submission to the City Council. The ordinance contains a definitional section for terms used in the ordinance. Certain activities are prohibited in the ordinance, such as yard sales and no more than 2 pets. Parts of the ordinance pertain to RVs as opposed to campgrounds in general, but neither campgrounds nor RV parks can be located on less than 2 acres. There are screening requirements in the ordinance, and the application must contain a development plan detailing the layout of the facility. Sanitation and water plans are required to be approved by the state and the London Utility Commission. Once the plan is approved by the council, construction must begin within 12 months and be completed within 24 months. Specifications for the location of RVs, minimum widths, limitations of the number of vehicles, requirements for reuse containers, underground installation of electric and telephone lines, setbacks for permanent buildings, requirement for visitors parking, lighting for location of each are contained in the ordinance. Off conveyances of the property deed comprising of the facility cannot be made after approval by the council. There must be a designate caretaker of the park, and rules and regulations of the park are to be provided to the council when approval is given. The state fire marshal must approve the plat prior to the submission to the council. The ordinance is effective upon publication. A full text of the ordinance is available for viewing at the office of the City of London City Clerk.
Anybody have any questions regarding this one? Can I get a motion to approve the second reading?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Next thing on the agenda is the first reading of ordinance number 2023-15. This is abandoned urban properties. We have a summary. City Clerk, will you read that, please?
A summary of ordinance number 2023-15, an ordinance declaring abandoned urban properties as a separate class of real property, establishing the Vacant Properties Review Commission, and assigning duties to the Code Enforcement Board, definitions, rate of taxation for abandoned urban properties, classification of property as abandoned urban property, and right of appeal and appeal procedure. This summary is prepared by Larry G. Bryson, the London City Attorney, who is licensed and authorized to practice law in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The full text of this ordinance can be viewed at the office of the London City Clerk. This ordinance relates to the blighted and abandoned property within the city and enables the city to impose a $1.50 per $100 valuation on such property per KRS 132.012. The identification of such property is with the Vacant Properties Review Commission, which is the City Code Enforcement Board, with the membership qualification and terms set out in the ordinance. Such property is defined in KRS 132.102 and KRS 99.700 to 99.730. The list of such property is provided to the county PVA and the city council by the city clerk no later than May 1st of each year. Notice shall be given to the property owner at least 90 days with a possible extension of an additional 90 days of the required abatement property to commencement of any condemnation procedure. Eminent domain is authorized by KRS 99.715. Abandoned urban property is defined the same as KRS 132.012 and includes a variety of unsafe electrical and fire hazards, attractive nuisances, and other unsafe conditions for humans, but not including neglected areas that have accumulated trash and debris. If the property is repaired, the owner is to notify the mayor and council, and if such is true, will notify the PVA to take the property off that list. The property owner may also appeal the classification of the property to the commission if it is believed that the property is wrongly classified. The appeal process is outlined in the ordinance. The ordinance is effective upon publication.
And on this ordinance, it's been highly requested that we reapproach this subject because it is a need throughout our city. We do have a blighted ordinance currently. This one would put a little bit more teeth in it in the process, but also would give council a bit more rule on how the process is proceeded in the future. One thing that the public needs to understand is the city makes every attempt through first we call to notify the individual, then we send out written notices. Nobody in the city and code enforcement wants to get to this point, but you do have properties that unfortunately probably will if the owners choose not to listen to all the steps prior to it coming before code enforcement. So it's not like that we're just going to set out and start enacting this ordinance on every individual every time we see it. We do have a process in place. First contact by phone, ask them to correct the situation, and then issue the letters. And sometimes there's multiple letters sent out. And in a day that the owner of the property and code enforcement with Josh, our building inspector, agree, whether it be 30 days, 60 days, whatever, that they come to an agreement. And then if they violate past that agreement, then something like this may come into place where they go before code enforcement. So it's not like as soon as we see an issue, we're going to be enacting this on you. That's not the process, and I wanted to clear that up. Some of the chatter too is we were creating a new tax. That is not true. We are not creating a new tax. Unfortunately, for the state, you have to use this proper language especially when it comes to the PVA. So the way that we would do it is if the code enforcement board found you guilty and that you refused of all of our attempts to get you to fix or correct the situation, then the code enforcement board could impose this on you. Absolutely. But it's not us creating a new property tax. That is not the case. So I wanted to clarify that as well. We know that if you look around the city, one of the biggest things when we first brought this ordinance up was the phone calls that we got at City Hall was unreal about the people in support of this, because we know that there is an issue. And it is our job as a city to ensure that our buildings are first safe and that the buildings are beautiful or as good as the shape as possible and safe. And that's what we want to do, and that's what this ordinance will allow us to do, and it'd give our current blighted, and unfortunately, right now, if you go before the Code Enforcement Board, there's nothing real regulation on how much they can fine you, or there's no teeth in saying this is what they have to do. So you are at the mercy of three people. But this spells it out what they can do, and it gives the power to your council. So I'm proud of this ordinance, and I think it'd be an asset to our city. Does the council have any questions on this?
I have a question. Who sponsored this ordinance?
They were, I don't know that one council member sponsored it, but I had talked to several about it.
Well, is it supposed to be sponsored by a council member?
No, it doesn't have to be. No,
Okay.
but the last changes that were made, I think, were
Was Stacy's.
suggested by Stacy.
I asked for some changes to be made, yeah. Thanks for making them.
I do
I
like
think they were
the,
necessary.
I like the amount better, being changed there. And again, the only reason I didn't approve the last one is, well, the amount plus, we've got one, we just need to better enforce. When we put this into place, we need to enforce it better.
And we are. Josh, I'm very proud of Josh and our code enforcement team. We've got a code enforcement board now. They've met. We all met most recently. And the ordinances will be enacted, but there's a lot of gray areas in the old one. And I felt like we need to remove any type of gray areas and make it consistent and fair across the board. And that's where we're at with this ordinance.
Is there any way council could get a report monthly on what, we're being able to do?
Absolutely.
So that we can see what's happening? That would be great.
We can definitely get you reports on what's going before the Code Enforcement Board. And, ultimately, if someone wanted to bring something before you, they could. You are the lawmakers in the city, and they could do that. So, but yes, we'll definitely tell the Code Enforcement Board to keep you guys informed.
Now, since we already have an ordinance on the books, you say this gives us more teeth. What is the teeth? The tax?
Yes, so it would allow, right now, so if code enforcement decided to impose $2,000 on you, they can do it. This right here limits what they can do, but it also allows us to go a little step further in like taking that taxation for blighted properties and putting it into the PVA's hands on the properties as well.
Okay. Another question I had was, how does this new ordinance give the council more oversight?
Well, because like I said, When it came to the regulation part on how people were being fined, you currently have none. It's up to the code enforcement board to make that decision. This says what they can and cannot do when it comes to that process.
In the, with the old ordinance, we had, and Kelly and Kip may remember this, we've had a few pieces of property that were essentially falling down and still are. We tried eminent domain. The judge said we could not do that. Now, that was after council gave approval to do that. It was after the Blighted Property Committee looked at it. This shifts most all of the responsibility from the Blighted Property Committee to code enforcement, because the statutes are already there defining what's blighted property, what's abandoned property, and what's deteriorated property. And honestly, a lot of it dealt with electrical codes, plumbing codes, and things like that. We had one piece of property here that just stands out from all the others because people were not supposed to be living in it, and they were. Even a child was living there. There was no running water, no electricity, nothing, and nothing could be done about it. So this gives you the ability to do something about it, but this is not, the code enforcement won't be a runaway train on filing condemnation. That, by this ordinance, must come before you, and we'll go through the process of this is what's happened up to now. And do you want to file a lawsuit to take care of this or not? So ultimately, that's going to be your decision to make.
And something that, too, I'm sure you guys are aware, we have a lot of buildings in this city that are vacant, and we have a huge issue with homelessness. And by us not being able to address this, we get phone calls at City Hall all the time about people living in buildings and our senior population scared to death. This lets us help address that. And it's long past time that we address it as a city.
I'm just curious, how does that give us, I mean, is it the tax that gives us the way to address the homeless living in people's buildings, or, I'm just curious?
No, if they don't want to clean up their properties, then it gives us the ability to do something as a city.
Okay. Well, now, the properties in question, I know it says in here eminent domain. Now, I know it also says condemnation.
Same thing.
Okay, well, eminent domain means to me like you're going to tear down a house or a building to build a road through it or something. That's what I think of. So is that just a legal term, is eminent domain for
Yes.
condemnation of a blighted property?
Yeah, by government.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I feel good about it now, so.
Okay.
Thanks for the changes.
Oh, everybody's not any questions?
We've reduced that down to, from 3 to 150.
That is
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
Now, I have another question. I saw in here, there is the code enforcement, but there's also, it says blighted property board in the ordinance. Are there
It's
two
the
different people?
No,
I mean, two
it's
different
the
groups?
same.
Okay.
It's used interchangeably in the statute.
Some, yeah, from what I read, some states use two separate boards, some use one. I had asked for two, but we're using one, which is, in this situation, a lot of cities did it both ways.
If no
And
more
we-
questions, we seek for approval of the first reading.
Just for the point, we did point out that people do have 90 days with the exception of, they can ask for additional 90 days for abatement
That's right.
Yeah.
before the
Yeah.
process. And they also
Yeah.
have the 45 days to appeal immediately.
Yes.
If they
Yeah.
get notice in the mail. Just
Yeah.
so
That is
people are
correct.
Clear on
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
But
so-
it also gives the code enforcement board the ability to, and this is a problem we ran into. If somebody doesn't mow their grass, 90 days, another 90 days,
Yeah.
it's fall. You don't bring out the baler.
Yeah.
So on those types of things, we're allowed to, we go through the process, we send them notice. But on the larger structural issues, and you all know I could point out some property, but you all have heard all about them, where it does take longer to deal with some of those, like replacement of windows and doors and, fire escapes and things like that. A reasonable time should be allowed for those.
I have another question also about,
Go ahead.
I
No.
don't want to mess you up there, about fines. Now, the current ordinance doesn't have anything in it about fines, is that right?
It does about some things, and to be honest about it, code enforcement doesn't just deal with this. They
Yeah.
deal with a lot of other issues. In the code that's in reference to code enforcement, the code is actually all of your ordinances. So they really, in the end, other than the police matters, they're the ultimate board that has the hearings on those.
Okay, well, so let's say somebody gets a letter about something wrong with their property. Will there be a fine that goes with that eventually? And then the process of
Yeah,
eminent domain or whatever?
on some of these, what Josh and I have talked about is some of these will be payable, sort of like a traffic ticket. So if you don't do this, the fine's this. If you want to have a hearing before code enforcement, you can. You just need to ask for it. And it's done, but some of them are that way. Or hopefully will be that way.
But again, we don't just see an issue and then send a violation letter.
No.
Yeah.
Courtesy call, and then there's multiple letters sent before we get to this point. And I think that it's fair enough that if we call and say, hey, this is an issue, like I said, and you make a verbal agreement that, hey, give me this amount of time. We've done it a lot, and Josh will tell you since I've took office. And but you do have properties that people just are not going to comply. And this gives us the ability, properties that everybody in this room and everybody watching on Facebook knows, and that is an issue.
I talked to a lot of people about it over the last month, and most people were for it. What they didn't like was they said it seemed like in the past that people kind of picked and choose who they went after, and I had asked in my email, let's do the worst ones first. That's all I asked.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think
We've
that
got
was
some
my
terrible-
concerns, is in the past, it did seem like, and like he said, people noticed that it was kind of a pick and choose who you picked on. So
No, that's
I
not
hope
happening
that
in this
this
case.
takes care of everything.
I've told
That was years previous.
the
but-
code enforcement and everybody at City Hall, and they'll testify to this, that everybody's to be treated the same. If it's a violation, it's a violation. And that goes for even the mayor. Francis got me for grass. So, yeah. So it's, we're not doing that. We just want everybody playing by the same rules, and that includes me. Or a council member, or whoever you are out here. So, and Josh will tell you, so we're not picking and choosing, we're not going around looking at certain people, because again, Francis got on me about grass.
Well, does that also apply to like city-owned properties that might be considered blighted from the way they're kept?
Hope not.
Well, I hope not.
Well, just
If
think
it
about
is,
City
it's going
Hall.
to come back to your wheelhouse where it's the money to get it fixed.
Well, just think about City Hall, you know, we got those stairs falling off the side of the building. I know we're sending letters out to a bunch of people about certain things that's wrong with their house and their eaves and everything else, but yet we've got a City Hall that's got a staircase falling off.
We've got it blocked off, though.
Yeah,
to
but
keep
still, it's still
people
there,
from
I
using
mean.
it. Yeah.
We need
So
to.
probably-
To me, I think if we're gonna send out blighted letters and complaints, we need to stop if we got their own problem at home, and we don't need to throw rocks if we live in a glass house, you know?
You all appropriate money for that, and I'm sure it'll be done.
You gotta show us we got some. It's budget time, and
Any other questions?
I have one more question, I'll leave you alone here, I know I'm kicking the dead horse here, but on the eminent domain thing, I'm just curious how this works. So, if it goes to that point, that doesn't mean that we're gonna go and like tear down the property, and then go after the landowner for the money. That means we're just gonna actually seize the property.
It would be, it's sort of like a foreclosure sale, except the basis of it, rather than being a debt and a default on the debt, it's a violation of the ordinance. We would show the judge all of the letters, all of the notices that have been sent. Judge would hear from the other person. Judges usually extend time and say, you know, how much time do you need to correct this? But again, this is really going to be more for these buildings that are falling down, that people are living in and are not habitable for people or children, or are being used as drug houses, really.
Yeah. That was my question. I was just curious how that works. So would it be like a master commissioner sale? Would it go through the
Yes.
same process?
Yes.
So then anybody could buy it at the courthouse steps?
Yeah, but a part of the order would be that this has to be corrected or removed within X number of days.
Okay. I was
That's
just
what we
curious.
did for a little while, till we found out we shouldn't be doing it.
Okay. I was just curious.
Any other questions? Motion to approve first reading.
I make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
No.
Mr. Bench?
yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Next thing on the agenda is the first reading of ordinance number 2023-16. This is adopting the standards of fire safety. We'll get the clerk to read.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, City of London, a summary of ordinance number 2023-16 entitled An Ordinance Adopting Standards of Fire Safety, Definitions, Fire Limits, Fire Protection Outside of the City Limits, Fire Department Access, Obstructing Fire Hydrants and Fire Access, Fire Inspection, Designated Enforcement Officer, Smoke Detectors, Open Burning, Penalties and Enforcement, Fines, Appeal Process, Effective Date. This summary is prepared by Larry G. Bryson, the London City Attorney, who is authorized to practice law in this Commonwealth. This summary is a true and accurate summary of this ordinance. The ordinance states the reasons for its enactment and provides definitions for words that are used in this ordinance. It establishes a fire inspection program for all property to correct a condition that is likely to cause a fire loss and to prevent the loss of human life. To this end, if property lacks repairs, escape facilities, fire alarms, or are in a dilapidated condition, combustible, explosive, or flammable material, or other reason that make this property especially liable for fire loss, the fire chief shall order it remedied within 60 days. This ordinance is to be sent to the State Fire Marshal and the Rates Section of the Department of Insurance for the Commonwealth. Fire protection is provided by the City Fire Department, who may enter into a mutual and/or automatic aid agreement with other fire districts outside of the city. So property taxes are not raised. Mitigation rates are authorized for a billing system for emergency incidents such as fire suppression, scene cleanup, hazmat mitigation, among others. The rates are to be recommended by the chief and approved by the City Council by a separate motion and vote. These claims are submitted to the responsible party through their insurance company. Fire Department vehicle access is also addressed with the fire hydrant and fire sprinkler systems to be provided by the fire chief. Access roads are defined in locations for the fire hydrants. It is unlawful to park a motor vehicle within 10 feet of a fire hydrant or fire department connection, and the fire department can have the vehicle removed. The ordinance establishes a written fire safety inspection for different types of occupancies, but particularly for assembly type areas, rentals, businesses, and apartment buildings with a dimensional fee schedule. The fire chief is designated the local enforcement agent for the Kentucky Standards of Safety. Minimal requirements are made for smoke detectors, but are particularly required in 2 or more dwelling units within a building. There are also requirements for installation and maintenance, and free smoke detectors are made available to private homeowners by the City Fire Department. Open burning is prohibited except for grilling, recreational purposes, weed abatement to prevent a fire hazard for training purposes, agriculture or wildlife management purposes, accidental spills of crude oil, and land clearing after storms with limitations. The burning of household rubbish, garbage, construction debris, and other material, including coated wiring and chemical containers, is prohibited. There are location requirements and open burning regulations with the ability of the fire chief to prohibit where the smoke or odor emissions and other circumstances might make the fires hazardous. Fire hazard seasons are recognized and the authorization of burn permits is recognized. The decisions of the fire chief are final unless a written appeal is made to the City Code Enforcement Board within 7 days of the citation. There is a severability clause in the ordinance and it is effective on publication.
Carl's here too, and he and Larry can answer, either one of them can answer any questions you guys may have regarding this one. Another thing we heard was rumors that this is implementing a fire tax. It absolutely is not. One thing I'd like to keynote, though, these guys work really hard at the fire department of helping people install and maintain their smoke detectors throughout the city. That's a wonderful program we have, especially for our seniors. So anybody that's needing help with that, reach out to Carl and them at the fire department. They'd love to be able to help you. But if there's any questions regarding this ordinance,
Carl, does this, in any way allow you all to go into, homes and require an inspection?
No. The only way we would be going into a home is if it was a business where they had like children that stayed there or something like that. As far as going to individual homes and doing inspections on them, no. It's business and commercial property. That also gets us back in, if there was a bar, that it does state that, if that gets us into that business. It gets us back into that property. If they had a bar, go back into it also.
Okay. And another thing, are we not already billing insurance? Haven't we billed insurance for years?
We started trying to do that in-house, but we're not able to. It's not getting nowhere with it. There's a new process that we've looked at that is more beneficial, that will gain more money to help with things that we do and help with the city. So they take care of our house. Manpower, equipment, supplies we use, things like that we're not able to get back. We're saving money, but we're not making money. And we could at least get our manpower, equipment use, all that money back.
I guess that's my only concern for the citizens, is we don't want to appear as though we're trying to make money, because the city fund, city taxes and stuff keep the police station and the fire department and stuff running. And so I talked to some citizens that said that it appeared as though we were trying in every department to make money, make revenue.
sure.
And so
We're not trying to make money, but I not hid this. I do want every department to be self-reliant. We have a certain amount of money that we deal with in the city, and the city does give the fire department and the police department money, but being self-sustaining as much as possible is good, because then we can allocate that money from the general fund back to the general funds, and then it allows us to do these road projects, because again, we're dealing with a certain amount of money, and the only way to make these changes is like what Carl's doing. They weren't doing any billing to insurances prior to me taking office. Something that Carl and them said they had done at one time, they weren't doing it any longer. So I asked him to do that. Not that we're trying to make revenue, but it does help the cost of that run, or the manpower, the usage of the truck. That's all we're trying to do. That way, if it costed the city $500, the insurance company has to reimburse us. Then I can put that $500 back into the general funds and fix a sidewalk, or pave a road, or upgrade something in the city that is long overdue. So I wanted you to know, council lady, that's what we're doing.
So we're not getting, we basically, a house on Mill Street burns down.
Right.
And we go and we do our due diligence, and So we don't make any, we don't get any money right now?
No,
Through insurance?
I think,
or
Carl, would we, like on Rex, we started billing $500
$500
To the insurance?
to the insurance.
insurance, and that's as far as it goes. If the insurance doesn't pay it, we don't go after the individual.
Right.
Why did we stop billing insurance?
We were actually, the way we were doing it, we were getting a lot of letters back, and they just, people wasn't doing it. They wasn't paying. You might get every so often, you might get something, but we couldn't get nothing back out of it, so
What makes us feel like this time's gonna be different?
because we're gonna go with a company that does that. That's what they do through the United States. They do different departments. They go after the insurance company, and that's it. They don't go after the person.
But it potentially could make the person's rates rise. No.
No, every insurance agency anyway allocates so much to this. Why we've not been receiving it, I don't know. But that's something I did find out, like in a wreck, they allocate $500 over there for this service. Where it's been going, I don't know in the previous years from these insurance companies, but, and again, it don't cover our entire cost for that run, but it does help. Like I said, if it costed us $800, we can get $500 back, and it allows me to put money back into the general fund.
Two other answers to that, Kill. One was we didn't have an ordinance about it. Two, it's like they were saying, this money's, it should not cause insurance to go up, because this money was already being paid to somebody. We were just not getting the money.
Yeah.
We'll have to be careful about when money is allocated to the fire department. You can't just take from the fire department and put back into the general fund.
You're right.
A sidewalk.
This
because
year,
we've allocated it in the budget.
you're right. So this was our plan is started this year, and it allows us, because the budget is forecast, it's just what we're forecasting where we're going to be at on all these numbers. So once this year we get a true reading or an ideal of what we're able to make from this ordinance to recoup, the city can recoup from, then it gives us an idea of what we're doing in the next fiscal year, so we can lessen the budget that we're allocating out of general funds to Carl now. So, like if we're giving Carl $2 million, if I know Carl can essentially get $1 million from insurance companies, that allows me to free some money up that we would have normally allocated out of general funds. And that's $1 million going to senior things or road projects, a lot of things we could be doing.
I've got a question. So if we bill an insurance company for emergency services, so they're not going to stroke a check to us, they're going to call us and say, I have to see your ordinance. I mean, I don't know if they work that way. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but now we got an insurance guy right here in the crowd here that probably knows a lot of how some of this stuff works.
He also has some history at the fire department. So he's
10 years on the fire department, yeah.
Yeah.
I can answer some of the questions if you want me to.
I'll be glad to. I mean, if you want. to.
How about the billing of the insurance? I'm interested.
Okay, first place, insurance, most insurance companies, since cities are required by law to furnish a fire department, do not pay in the city. Most policy says if it's in the city, we do not pay for a fire department. Some companies do, and they'll cap it at $500 or $1,000. It only pays if there's a fire, lightning, or explosion. We don't pay for smoke detectors going off, or y'all billing for smoke detectors going off, fire alarms, stuff like that.
Oh, we what?
We don't be billing for fire
No.
alarms going off or anything? Only for fires?
Yes.
Yes. So only for fires, which you have about one a month probably, so. So it only pays for fire, lightning, or explosion. Most companies do not pay anything. And some of them that do will pay $500, some will pay $1,000 for a house. Commercial, they go up to $2,000 or $5,000. But it's capped. And car wrecks, there's nothing set aside for car wrecks, I can assure you that. They might pay it. There's nothing in the policy that we pay $500 for a car wreck. That's just a billing thing, and I don't know, I've never seen a bill for a car wreck in 40 years. I don't know how they pay.
Some
Sometimes
are,
they might, but there's nothing set aside. And yes, if they turn in a claim, have a mulch fire. Let's say you have a business, they turn in a mulch fire, but you don't turn it into the insurance. But if the fire department turned it in, yes, it would raise the rates for that company.
yeah.
If there's not an insurance claim, what I'm saying, if the insured, the homeowner doesn't turn a claim in, if the fire department does, that does raise the rates, and it counts as a fire loss, which means they're going to get canceled most likely, and their premiums will double, triple, or quadruple, or have no insurance at all. If they had other circumstances to be involved.
So the individual, you're
Well, they
saying?
cancel, oh, yeah. Because if the individual, I have a mulch fire, but I was on a fire department, we went to a lot of mulch fires in business. People flick their cigarettes, catch the mulch on fire. There's no claim. But if the fire department billed that homeowners for that, then there would be a claim, it counts as a fire loss, and their rates would go up. Because y'all said rates would go up, they definitely would go up.
But this doesn't address those kinds of things.
Yes, it does. You said you were going to bill every,
This ordinance
you
does
said you were going
not.
to bill for a fire.
Yeah, well,
If the insurance company pays, there's a claim.
I mean, yeah, we bill for fires, but not for,
Something like that, we're not billing for
No.
those fires.
Does the ordinance say you can bill for any fire run?
We are gonna bill for structure fires. That's we always.
Is that what it says?
Is that in the ordinance? So we, the ordinance needs to say that.
What's
Yeah.
the ordinance? Because, and here's what I always say, it's not what y'all say now, what's 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
No, yeah, the ordinance needs to say it. There's no question about that. I don't know.
But
What's
as
the
long
law?
as, if the insurer does not.
It may do it,
claim,
I don't know.
There's no
It
claim.
needs to say it.
And there's probably 1 or 2 structure fires a month. When I was on, we had 13 a year was the average. So you're not talking much money. Car wrecks, I don't think car wrecks unless you go to Carl, but used to be went to car wrecks only for the rescue squad to call.
well, other counties and cities are billing for this. Why should we not?
I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm saying, but you're capped.
Yeah,
You're capped at-
yeah, but it's going to somebody, so why not to us? Why should we not get it?
Yeah, Laurel County
I don't know
Fire,
what city that bills. Some cities
well,
might.
Laurel Fire Department was,
That's a county. That's different.
no, but they were billing every run they went to. Every run they went to, they billed for. Here's my thing, this whole ordinance, I can confidently tell you that it does not mention a mulch fire. It speaks of structural things
That's
only.
it.
Sure.
And Corbin, the city, Corbin Fire Department was using the same thing that we're.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I'm
they
saying- well, I'm
are.
saying-
There are multiple cities, Somerset, Corbin, Richmond, there's a lot of these
Some
cities.
insurance companies don't pay for it because it's not required.
Well, they may not,
Are y'all
but
gonna
they
still
will
bill
never.
this ordinance? Does it say if insurance don't pay, they don't pay?
No.
We're not going after that.
Does the ordinance say that?
Essentially, yes, because that's the way we wrote it.
Carl, I got a question on the
The
define,
insurance only pays if there's actual.
You've not read it, so you don't know what it says.
I've been asking stuff about how insurance pays on it. I haven't been asked, but. no.
Yeah, but before,
Does this say only what insurance pays? What I'm saying is, I don't want to.
yes,
And
it does.
insurance pays $500, y'all bill $5,000.
Yes, no, we specifically address that.
define open burning. I mean, I got a general idea, but people have fire pit. I've got one off my patio, and you're liable to come by there and see
Is
fire.
that considered recreational burning?
Define open burning, please.
That you can't do the open burning or.
We've got a fine amount for open burning here, and it's right in the ordinance. I just, I'm not trying to be, I just want to make sure that when I vote for this or against it, I want
Fire pit, no, but if you're out burning off stuff, you do an illegal burn. If you're burning during a time that there's a burn ban on where it's too dry to burn.
Well, yeah, no, but don't say that, it just says open burning. It
Yeah, it does. It's part of it, because the state and the county can declare a burn ban.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And we've accepted from that several different things, the little chimneys that people have in their backyard, those are accepted from. Grills, those kind of things, those are not included. But if there's a burn ban and somebody's burning leaves and there's a danger,
Oh, absolutely. But this just says open burning. It's got the fine amount. Mm-hmm. And I guess maybe there's language in there that would separate that from what we're talking about, but that seems broad right there. This to the public, this feels like overreach.
Yeah, I think that's why we've had problems with this.
It's probably the most controversial
we have
one
had
we've had.
A lot of public, I know, come to me and worrying about this one ordinance.
What are they worried about?
Oh, they just they talked about just overreach, just the burning.
What is overreaching?
Well, I'll tell you what overreach is. The original ordinance said that the fire department could come into somebody's house and check their smoke alarm, and if the property owner didn't allow them access, we could fine them.
I don't know that the first one said that, but Carl, the fire department will give fire detectors to any private person that wants them.
The biggest part of that ordinance, when it was talking about the residential, was new construction. And Carl, that's the problem with a lot of the things that I'm seeing that we have challenges on. It's the misconceptions of people not really reading the ordinance. That is new constructions, business constructions, commercial constructions, which regardless of, that needs to be safe. And especially when it comes to commercial. We need to make sure that they first have the appropriate fire retardant stuff in place. We need to make sure they have smoke detectors. So there's a lot of those things that it's just needful. But at no point did this ordinance ever read that the fire department was going to come in your home and inspect your, like we're Gestapo. That was for new construction, that Carl and them would go in and inspect the property.
Wouldn't we do those things anyway without an order? I mean, I'm not saying I'm just saying, you're talking about making sure that you've got a fire department that responds to calls, does the necessary things to put fires out, the preemptive measures that we take. Isn't that all just what a fire department does? I mean, that's basically what that's what you do, right? That defines you.
That is just, that ordinance right there is just pretty much putting in the ordinance, it's redoing the ordinance sort of like 1/4. It's actually saying what we do, that we go in and we do the inspections on buildings, that we go in and if we do a smoke detector program, call us, we go in and put smoke detectors. We tell them if they've got what they need to come out and look to see what they need. Tell them how many they would need for that residence. We're not going to anybody's place. You tell them, I'm not going to come to your house, knock on the door and say, kid, you ain't got smoke detectors. You ain't got this.
What if it's a rental,
Do what?
an apartment?
Yes, so the individual that is renting can contact the city and saying, the landlord will not put smoke detectors in our home, and yes, we will respond, which I think is great.
Are you going to inspect in between each renter?
Supposed to.
Is there going to be a fee for that?
And when we're putting smoke detectors in, because you've got people that are renting those, and to make sure that they're safe.
I put them in my
The mayor
rentals.
said we just make recommendation and try to get that took care of.
So if I have a renter move out, am I going to have to call you and say I got a new one moving in? And you're going to come over?
No.
Can you come whenever you want?
Carl,
Well, it sounds like you can.
it's Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm working in my yard. It's rained for two weeks, and it hadn't rained 3 days, and I decided, hey, I'm gonna pick some sticks up and I'm gonna burn some leaves. Do I have to call you and ask, have some sort of record that I've called you to burn, or can I not burn at all? No burn ban, no nothing.
It's, people call down there, you don't have to the way it is right now.
Right.
A lot of times people will call the fire department and they will say, I'm gonna burn this off. Is it okay? We go through what the regulations are. It needs to be so many feet away from the woodland. All this, we can only burn fallen brush. Then we notify dispatch. The reason we do that is, one, we know you're burning. Two, we're not running down the road because some
Looking for
Joe
smoke.
Smith drove by and said,
Saw smoke.
flames behind the house is on fire. We're not going to come out and find you because you're burning stick. Now, take that different side. If you're burning boxes, if you're burning stuff that's illegal, we're going to come out and we're going to, get you for that. Because that is illegal.
So when you say the stuff that's illegal, that's stuff that's already illegal to burn?
Yes.
Under state law?
Yes. And if we don't get you, then the EPA comes after us for not getting you, and they're still going after. So we have a duty to act on that.
The EPA would come after you for not getting us?
Chief that was threatened by the EPA on somebody burning something and it wasn't done. So, we have a duty to take care of that.
This ordinance is just not about insurance. It's about stuff that we kind of already do, but it's kind of spelling it out in city law of how we're doing it and the process of doing it. And then does allow the option for Carl and them to charge for inspection on commercial buildings and things like that. That's every city across the state pretty much does. So it's getting rid of the gray areas and making it a structured system of how the fire department already operates. Just like you guys said, a lot of it he already does anyway. But it does not give us the authority to enter a private residence and check your smoke detectors. It does not give us the authority to show up and give you big fines for lighting up a grill or burning something in your fire pit in the backyard. But I think we could all agree, do you want this big massive burn in the city limit when there's a drought? And if that does happen, what does the city do? You don't have an ordinance defining it.
Yeah, but that's up to the state. If it's a burn ban going on because of the weather, that's the state. We shouldn't have nothing to do with it.
But why?
The state.
Because that's how it is. The state, that's a state does
But
that.
but I see both sides of that. You gotta enforce it. We have to enforce it.
That's right.
Because somebody may burn their stuff anyway, you know, even though there's a burn ban. I can see that now. I want to support our fire department. I appreciate the job you guys do immensely. I really do.
This,
This is a controversial ordinance,
I've
I'll
got
be
a
honest with
question.
you. Very much so.
Is there a increase in fires lately or something? I mean, has there been any kind of increase over the normal call-outs for fires?
I mean, I'm not a big increase where you.
I was just curious. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, so I just didn't know if the stuff that's in here is really a problem, or if it has been a problem. I mean,
Everything that is in there is either, it's an NFPA, which is National Park Standards, which is road permit, which Mr. Bryson had seen, and then it's building code 101, so it's things that Corbin has, and all these other cities, it's just we're adopting this
The
ordinance.
fire department is not only here for structure fire. They have multiple jobs in this city, and one of them is working with code enforcement and inspecting these buildings. And we have to have a structured guidelines on what our fire department is to do. Or if Carl messes up, how do I hold him responsible? One of the things I've heard, even from some council members, is nobody's doing nothing down at that fire department. Okay, well, we're trying to give a structured system to this is what they are to do. And you can't say that they're not doing nothing if there's nothing telling them what they can and cannot do. This does it. It ain't just about the insurance. It's not just about the structure fires, but we constantly have people building stuff in these city limits. Not only does code enforcement need to look at it, Josh's department, which Josh is working heavily with the chief hacker, we need an ordinance spelling this out. One, it protects our fire department because this is what he's supposed to be doing it. And then it gives them guidance to what they are supposed to be doing as a department. Not only just, guys, wait for a call out. And then since January, Josh, I think, will testify to this. They've been working very great together. Francis is with Carl about every day and keeping our community safe, especially in the business sector of the city.
The rates where we started out a while ago, those are on the third page of this. That Melvin was talking about.
Inspection rates, this talking
No.
about fire in there. Is the
Yeah.
fire rates in there?
Yeah, it's called fire protection cost recovery mitigation rates for services. And it gives a list of those. It starts out by we don't want to raise property taxes, so we're doing this. And the rates are based on the custom mitigation rates, the UCR, it's called, that are published by the fire department industry. The services that are covered under this, and that will answer what you are asking, is fire suppression, salvage, overhaul, scene cleanup, roadway cleanup, clearance, hazmat mitigation, vehicle stabilization, building stabilization, and hazard mitigation. It doesn't mention mulch fires.
Well, so fire mitigation would be a mulch fire.
No.
That's not it. It is. If the fire department comes to put the mulch fire out, they're mitigating that fire. That's fire
Okay.
mitigation. So I said, he probably wouldn't bill for that, but I said the ordinance doesn't say that.
Well, the ordinance can't cover every single thing.
But you cap it, and then you have a cap for the fee.
This
For the
is-
house fire, is there a cap for a fee?
This is standard language. You know, it may not be what you're used to in dealing with insurance, but this is standard language that has been used by several cities in these types of
What I'm saying is, though,
ordinances.
they can bill for a mulch fire if they want.
Well, here's the thing, maybe this will help you kind of rest your mind, on all the rates of billing has to come through the commission for the fire anyway. So this is a national average. So let's say, and I know where you're concerned, let's say there's a fire and we're sitting here trying to bill 5,000. Well, first of all, Carl's going to get in trouble and the city's going to get in trouble, because then it is the appearance that we're trying to create a revenue-based system. That's not the case. So there is a national standard that was used, that they was sent out to say, hey, this is how Corbin, Somerset, Berea, Richmond, all the cities are using this standard. And we're the only city that has no standard on how we operate or how we bill or how we get refunded for some of our services.
There was I saw no cap on how much you can bill for a fire. I saw no cap.
Well-
My statement was, if the insurance company only pays $500 or $1,000, most of them pay zero, but if they pay 500 or 1,000, are you going to cap it at what the insurance pays? If the insurance doesn't pay, are y'all still going after the individual? And that's what I don't see that in an ordinance that stops you from going after the individual.
There are a lot of things that are not in this
There's
ordinance.
things that can be done.
No, but it doesn't mean it will be done.
Correct.
So we cannot address every single incident that you can think of, like a mulch fire or,
It's capped at insurance. Are you going to say it is capped? I'm doing this for people, I'm out of insurance, I'm retired.
If-
But you put in the ordinance, we can collect nothing besides what insurance pays. That solves the problem.
we pay whatever.
That solves the problem.
There are two options here. To help the fire department, you either raise property taxes or you do little things like this to help pay for those big things that they
I'm all
do.
for the fire department officer. Anyway, what I'm saying, there's nothing, and there's caps to bill, and I'm just.
Yeah, there is though. Well, because it references that we're going according to the UCR.
Which is zero.
No,
But the insurance caps is, I'm saying there's no cap.
Did you read this?
Yes, I just read it.
Well, how do you get any other meaning out of this other than what's written?
Where's it put a cap?
Right here.
Where's it put a cap?
The usual,
That's
customary,
not
and
half.
reasonable.
That's not it. This
It
is what-
says that it will be billed with custom mitigation rates
Okay,
that are under the UCR. That's a cap.
that's, what's the UCR? What I'm saying is, insurance is capped at zero or 500 or 1,000. What I'm saying is, If the UCR says we can build $10,000, you can build $10,000.
Do you know what it says?
It says, I know what they say. Most cities don't-
We have it. We have it.
Where is it, Carl?
Well, we didn't
UCR
bring it
for
with us. We
Carl.
didn't know you'd be asking all these
They asked me.
little questions.
Yeah, we asked him, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, but why not talk with Carl? Now, you all have had this ordinance for months. Why not ask somebody before tonight?
I'm saying that, I'm just saying for people, there's no cap how much you can build.
But
There is.
There
There
is.
is.
There is, and that's why it's
And you don't
referenced.
know what we've looked at, because you were not there with us looking at it.
Well, why can't it just say in there capped at?
Well, it does, the UCR, which every city across the state's going to use that standard. So we're using the same standard, and again, we go back to divert, I know what you're saying, and I see, I understand what you're saying, but it is capped, because again, it goes back to a government entity cannot create a revenue-based system. So we would be, if I was charging you outside of what the UCR says I can, then it's going to cause major issues for the city. We're not. We'll go by the standards, which is, again, we're not even recouping on. I think one of the standards was $500. We run out, it's going to cost the city probably $4,000 or $5,000 per wreck. Right. So we're charging $500. Same thing with a structure fire. They say this is what they say is a national average is what you can charge. Again, if the city tried to charge you $10,000 as an insurance agent, we both know you could get a lawyer. You're going to come back to us, and then this is the first thing they're going to look at is what the UCR says we can charge.
I'm just saying that's not, I'm saying if the insurance pays zero, you still want to build UCR. Is the individual responsible for that?
No.
Where's it say that? It says you're going to build UCR, but if the insurance pays zero, because most homeowners policies in the city pay zero, because the city's required by law to furnish a fire
So it
department.
needs to say it in the ordinance.
And these in ordinance, you're capped at what the insurance pays. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It does not cap, you say it's capped at UCR, that's the individual, because you're billing the individual.
No, that's not
Where
the
does it say-
individual.
Can you also where it says insurance is capped?
It
I don't
does
see
not,
that.
it does not say
doesn't.
that
It needs
in
to.
those words, Mel. It does not say it in your words, but it says it by the rates that are
Can
charged,
you
and
bill
we
the individual
cannot.
without insurance? If there was a
No.
fire.
But can we not
But
just
it
put that in
doesn't
there?
say that either.
It says you can bill anybody for a
So
fire.
how many, no, it doesn't.
Well, why can't we just make it say
We're
that?
billing
Does it
insurance.
say that, guy?
I don't see it anywhere. I mean, if that's the case, Larry, why can't we just spell it out and just say that?
You're capped at insurance. 4 little words.
And we don't charge anybody that doesn't have insurance.
have all
And
the insurance
what
pays.
else do we need to say? We cannot possibly cover all of these things.
Well, hell, it's already 3 or 4 double-sided pages of legal paper thick. I mean, hell. I mean,
I'm just saying you can
it's
cap
already
it.
a book.
It's just not-
Yeah, until somebody wants to add something else. Which is what we've been getting into recently with all of these ordinances.
I just want to say that this, what Larry's trying to make plain is we have a standard by state, and we can't go past that standard. And no other city does, and London's not going to start breaking the law now either. So they send out a standard of a national average, and that's what we were going to use, and we have to use by law. So that's what we were going to do. So Larry's function is saying the mention out the cap, we don't have to because there's a higher authorities that says this is what you can and can't do. Because our ordinance, it's not in our ordinance, doesn't mean we can get by with it. And that's where I want this to be completely plain to everybody. There's higher authorities in the state and federal level that says this. So If we have to spell that out on every ordinance, they're going to become larger books. But that's why the reference to the UCR, and if you look all this up, you'd see that we are capped. And we are limited on what we can and cannot do, and what that fire department can do beyond what the city ordinance says. That's why that was referenced. And after we really dug into this, after we researched it from even before the last time this came up, we really learned how limited we really were. So this ordinance is pretty defined in what Carl and them can and cannot do. But I don't object that if you needed to say that there's a cap. But now listen to me, where I'm worried, if you say 10,000 or if you say 5,000, then you agree as a citizen, regardless of what UCR says, which may only be $300, that's where we just went by what the national average of every town around us is doing. That's why we mention that.
The cap I'm saying is cap it if insurance pays what the insurance pays. If insurance doesn't pay anything, then you can't bill beyond. Because you're saying you can bill UCR. I'm not disagreeing with that. But that does not mean the insurance company's going to pay anything.
The liability to the owner, to the business owner.
Removing
the homeowner,
that, correct. So
that's what we're, that's the
Well,
big issue.
and if you go
That's the
back to
issue.
what I was saying, this is what Larry and them's trying to clarify. If we go back to state statute and further beyond, we're not allowed to.
Yes, you are. You're saying right that you can bill UCR. I'm just saying, my recommendation would be you cap it up only if insurance pays. Most homeowners' policies pay zero to the city for a fire levy. Most homes, because that's standard nationwide.
Yeah.
So, no. But some of them pay 500, some pay 1,000.
You're right.
Okay. Cap it, but for the person who has zero, then are y'all going to send him a bill for $1,000? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Right there, that ordinance says you will, because I think I already, the ordinance says all runs will be billed. So you have to bill that person for your ordinance for $1,000 if $1,000 is your cap.
Yeah.
I can show you it says all runs will be billed. It says that in the ordinance, I saw that a minute ago.
For the UCR, yes.
Okay, but they don't have insurance. And insurance, or if they have insurance, the insurance pays nothing.
But
Then you have to bill those
UCR
people.
regulates and says we only can charge insurance. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's referenced.
But why can't it just say that, though? I mean, 'cause it's like.
What do you want it to say, Justin?
Well, just like what Melvin was
What do
saying.
you want it to say, Belford?
Captive insurance reimbursement.
So leave it to the insurance company to
It's in the
decide.
policy. Most of them say zero, some say $500, some say $1,000 for a homeowner. Now, business is different. Just when you say business is 5,000, some go to 10,000.
So,
Have it insured,
Yeah.
no more than insurance will pay.
I would just like to say this. When I have a special interest in something, I preclude myself or excuse myself from that subject matter. The citizens do not want us coming in with ordinances and giving people that has an insurance company or a special interest of the insurance companies, then to tell us how to write ordinances. That's not our job, is to let the influence of an insurance company dictate how we're going to operate as a city.
Well, first place, I'm retired,
So-
I'm out of insurance.
Correct, but you're a direct correlation to an insurance company,
No, I'm out.
and
I'm retired.
you may be, but again, I think too, at the same time, we've explained this. No one is coming after citizens. Does this affect the insurance companies? Absolutely.
The dollar amount.
we were kind of in a position before, Carl, where one or two insurance companies paid us if they wanted to. And that's exactly where we were, and some others wouldn't. But the others, Melvin, they said that they would pay us if we had an ordinance that says this.
That's fine. I'm not saying not have an ordinance. I'm just speaking up for, it has nothing to do with insurance, because this would take the insurance rate. $5,000 on a house fire, this would take the insurance rate. What I'm saying
But you
is-
said a while ago that the insurance would only pay if they wanted to, and that's not
They- they
correct.
what they're limited to.
And that's not correct. They will, that's why we wrote this ordinance.
They'll pay what they're limited to.
But-
Policy is 0, 500,
Okay, are you just wanting to make some
I'm
suggested
giving
change on these?
I think
I
we
need
need
to
to go
try to
back to
keep
the
it
well,
going.
or we need to do something with it, because it,
There's a few things, like, late fees shall be assessed if the invoice is not paid within 30 days.
why don't we do this, Kip? It seems like there's not, I don't want to write down notes right now. You all send me what you want in this, and I can make the changes.
I appreciate that. I think it's just, I think we need to appreciate the fire department and protect our citizens in our language that we use. You know what I'm saying?
I
In every
suggest,
way
though,
possible.
what council, you go research, get all the research from back when we first started talking about this ordinance. We sent out emails, please talk to Larry, please talk to Carl, and that way you could have a greater understanding of what is going on in this ordinance. And you'll have a better understanding of what we're trying to say to him. I get what he's saying, and I appreciate that. Don't think that I don't, I do. But if you have the full understanding of all the state statutes, the federal statutes, and everything Carl has to go by, and plus the UCR, you'll see why we're telling him in a nice way he's wrong in assuming that we're going to be able to go after these individuals, or that we're not capped, because we are.
This one is freaking the public out, okay?
Yeah.
It's freaking them out. And that's.
Probably is now.
Yeah.
No, I can assure you that it.
No, the first draft really freaked them out. The first draft really got.
Probably heard more about this than anything that I've, in my, whatever, 2.5 years.
And most of it is because they've never read the ordinance. It's available for them to read, but they never read it. They're told by people what the ordinance says, which is not correct most of the time.
Yeah, but what we're trying to do is fix it to where they can't poke holes in it. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people call me, I'm sure some of their other council members have too, complaining about, they think it's just an overreach of power. It's an overreach of a government, over a overgrown government. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, this ordinance, if they really read this ordinance, it primarily focuses on inspections of new construction of business and residential. There is other things included as the burn and the insurance billing, but I guess if you stripped away all of that and just gave us the ability to go out and have a legal format of an ordinance to be able, Carl, to be able to charge like every city does for inspecting commercial and residential new constructions. That was the primary focus of this. But again, billing and charging, which there's county fire departments here that's currently doing it. They go out to the interstate here, semi-rec, and they bill for it. Our fire department doesn't have anything saying that you can. This will give them the option to build according to the UCR. That's all it does.
What's the difference between the county and the city when it comes to that?
Well, I mean,
I don't know how that works. I mean, it looks to me like the city would have more, more than the county would. I don't know.
the city's just never done it, Justin. I mean,
I know.
and this is, again, us going back to giving structure to every department and defining it for the men and women that work there of what they can and can't do, because we currently don't have that. And we most certainly want to hear the concerns of the citizens or anybody with this, but I just want correct information out there about it. Brian will put this ordinance up on the website. I highly suggest all citizens to read it, so you yourself can do the research and see that we are not coming in your homes. We are not charging you for little brush fires. We are not going to charge you $10,000 for a mulch fire. It's all misconceptions, and we want to help clear all that up as much as possible. And maybe I'm to blame for when this came out, not defining things a little bit more to keep the gossip and the rumors down, because that's a lot of what's people are driving on currently. But I can assure you, at no point was this ordinance constructed to break any state statutes or the fire commission in itself. It was done all by their recommendations and their statutes and ordinances of every town beside of us. But we'll put that up. Do you want to try to table this? Do you can collectively come to the next meeting maybe? And then you can add your suggestions into changing it?
We could table, or we could just throw it all together and start over. Either one. I don't know how that works, whichever
Well,
way.
you don't have to have one. We haven't.
Well,
But if you don't, and that becomes a problem, it's because you've not acted.
you know what?
So you have not acted. You know, when you say throw it away, start all over, I don't know what that means.
Well, that looks to me like, to me, that means a lot of this stuff here seems like an overreach to the citizens.
What is an overreach?
Well, let's see here. If you want to go to standards of safety right here, you go down over here, paragraph 4.
What page are you?
Well, we don't have a page number on this one, but it's,
Standards of safety's on page 2.
yeah, okay. Paragraph 4, that whole paragraph
on
right
3.
there. Huh?
Paragraph 4 is on 3.
Oh, on page 3, okay.
Yeah.
Talks about how the fire chief and his designee can come in, it's a big long paragraph, to the owner shall, hang on here. If the owner fails to comply with any order within a specific time, the chief and his designee may cause the property owner to be repaired or removed. If repairs are not feasible, all fire hazards remediated at the expense of the owner. Any such expense incurred by the city shall be enforced against the property or such
This is all done
owner
with this.
and shall have a lien for such expenses on the real estate of the property, on the
So
real property.
this is like, like the Bible. If you take one verse here and try to build a doctrine on it, you can, but you have to go paragraphs prior to that. Good point, Justin, but I want you to read all that before that. And it's talking about new construction, and it's talking about commercial and residential. So you're right, Carl and them do have the ability. Carl has the ability now, or the state fire marshal has the ability now to go in there and do these same things, but it's not defined in our city. Given the definition in the city and laying an outline, it's possible. Again, that diverts back to new construction. It's not going into your residential home and the chief or the assistant chief or them saying, you better do this or we're putting a lien on your property. That's the biggest misconception about this ordinance. All of that prior to you reading that is talking about new construction of commercial and residential properties. But we can table it.
Okay,
So we can keep the quorum and move on. Do you guys wish to table it until the next meeting? Second to table,
I'll second.
roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Brian, get this
Mr.
ordinance
Young?
up on the website so the citizens can read it.
Mr. Young?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, what's the question? Table it?
Yes.
Ye-
Till the
yes,
next
yes,
meeting,
table it,
yes.
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
All right, moving along. Second reading of ordinance number 2023-20, and this is the office of the city clerk. We talked about this one in the last meeting.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, City of London, ordinance number 2023-20, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2021-113, establishing the office of the city clerk as a non-elected appointed position, oath of office, bond requirement, responsibilities and duties, tax collection, duties of city clerk as human resource officer, city finance officer, and city treasurer, and budget responsibilities. I am only reading the updates. As required and pursuant to KRS 83A 080, KRS 83A 085, and other applicable Kentucky law, the title and the office of London City Clerk, Finance Officer, city treasurer, and human resource officer be and is hereby reestablished. The city clerk shall be appointed by the mayor with approval of the city council. In keeping with KRS 83A 0803, the city clerk may be removed from office by the mayor at will, but shall be given a written statement setting forth the reason or reasons for removal. This requirement shall not be construed as limiting in any way the at-will dismissal power of the mayor.
All right, can we get any questions on this one? Get a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Next thing on the agenda is first reading of ordinance number 2023-21, the use of dynamic braking, Jake brakes. We'll read that ordinance.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, City of London, ordinance number 2023-21. An ordinance prohibiting the use of dynamic braking systems in the City of London, definition, Code Enforcement Board, penalties for violations, effective date. Be it ordained by the City of London as follows. Whereas the City Council of the City of London, Kentucky has had many complaints about the use by large trucks with dynamic braking systems that produce loud noises that are disruptive and cause other drivers alarm and or distraction from safe driving, and because such dynamic braking systems are so loud they have set off alarms in businesses in the City of London. The council does hereby state that for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of London, Kentucky, the council does hereby ordain as follows. A dynamic braking system, Jake brakes, Jacob brakes, engine brakes, or compression brakes, is a device primarily on trucks for the conversion of the engine from an internal combustion engine to an air compressor for the purpose of braking without the use of wheel brakes. It shall be unlawful for any person to operate any motor vehicle with an unmuffled dynamic braking device engaged on North Main Street and South Main Street in the City of London, except for emergency situations such as to avoid a collision with another vehicle or object. This ordinance shall apply to all trucks using unmuffled dynamic braking device. Violations of this ordinance may be cited to the Code Enforcement Board. For violations of this ordinance: first offense, warning; second offense, $100; third offense or more offenses, $200. All ordinance or part of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. If any part of this ordinance shall be found to be unconstitutional or deficient by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining portion of the ordinance that is unaffected by the court's ruling shall remain in effect. This ordinance shall be effective immediately upon publication.
Any questions with this ordinance?
How are we going to be able to, keep it from happening? That's not the word I want to use, but.
Police it.
Yeah, how are we
Police
going to
it.
police it?
Well, I mean, the council put in a first and second and third offense. So that's the way they will police it.
I mean, these people always coming down Main Street, I mean, are they gonna, we just stop them?
Yeah, the
Every
police
time?
would pull them over for violating the ordinance.
Okay, so maybe next time they come through, they know that.
They know not to do it.
Well, I've got quite a bit of questions about it myself. But the reason behind the ordinance altogether is because of noise, is that right? Because of the noise?
Yes, noise and the fact that it's setting off alarms, like bank alarms. Not all the time, but it has.
Is it doing it more so now than it's ever done, or do you know?
I have no idea.
Well, I mean, being a truck driver and having trucks in my company, You know, engine brake is a safety device. It's not just going down the road like somebody blaring their music. I mean, it's actually about 20 to 30% of the truck's braking ability. So I know they're not going to be going that fast through downtown anyway. But if it's noise, according to my research, you know, it's probably these straight pipe motorcycles running down the street are a lot louder than these trucks are. So, you know, if it's about noise, maybe you need to do a noise ordinance, not pick on a truck driver trying to make a living.
Well, you know, so I sponsored this ordinance, and it was because of people, citizens that had come to me saying, hey, I'm tired of these Jake breaks on Main Street. So I just happened to be somewhere where there was some KSP from Hazard. They're like, oh, well, Hyden has a Jake break ordinance. I said, well, let's look into that.
Yeah, but,
So,
yeah, okay, go ahead.
you know, so there are, like you said, straight pipe, then there are muffled Jake brakes. So if it's muffled, you know, that's not a problem, because you can barely tell. For instance, like if a truck was braking up here, you wouldn't even tell. I mean, it's kind of sounds like it's revving its engine rather than that big sound that you hear.
Well, like I said, I mean, if noise is a problem, I don't think it's coming from the trucks per se over other things.
Well,
And then,
in the city, and I hear it.
you probably hear motorcycles more than you do trucks, but anyway, that's another point.
No.
I mean, we've all got complaints. I hear a lot of ambulances and fire trucks where I live constantly. I mean, I think we're getting in that
That's
area.
emergency services.
I know, but I'm just saying they're there, and it, you know, I hear it because I live in the city, and it's no big
Should
problem
you
to
hear
me.
Jake breaks in the city?
I just
Should they
think
even
that-
be going fast enough to use a Jake brake to slow down?
Well, like he said, it's a safety thing
Should
for
they
some
not
of
be
the trucks.
hyper vigilant driving through town, you know, knowing that people could be walking out anywhere? Should they not be hyper vigilant?
I just think that we're starting to go down areas with the public that we don't need to, I mean, we
Well,
put
I'll
it, we
have the
put out
people
the
call you
signs.
that have called me.
Okay, and I'll talk to them.
That's fine. I love talking to them
You
myself.
put out the signs, you know, saying no trucks down Main Street. We know that that's just going to deter them, and hopefully they will use the bypass. That'd be great. But if they don't, there's really nothing that we can do. And I think this is another thing that is just like that. It's just trying to.
Well, you know, Justin brings up a point, he owns trucks. Now, I did too, drove a truck too. I never needed a Jake brake unless I was going down a mountain, and even most of my men would come in here and testify to that. That Jake brakes are used for helping you to brake. But most of the time it's when you're under load, a heavy load, and you're going down a hill or a mountain where it's necessary. I can't imagine going 35, 25, 35 in a city that you would need your Jake brake to come to a stop at a red light. Just my opinion, as being around trucks for years, most truck drivers, Jellicoe Mountain, they're going to use their Jake brake. Coming through the town of London, I don't. It's not something that help that driver stop if he's not going fast enough, what would he need it for? He's got brakes on his vehicle to stop without the assistance of the Jake brake. But I will say a lot of drivers do like that sound. It's the Super Trucker, and they do like the sound of it. But a lot of our businesses are upset about it for those that's coming down Main Street, or even those that live close to Main Street and listening to it. It does rattle more than a motorcycle does, especially if you have a souped-up truck and you hit that Jake brake. It will rattle the windows downtown. I've seen it happen. So, but the Jake brake's not necessary to make it through Main Street of London.
Well, I've got, I want to remind people who probably don't know, since being in the trucking business, I know, of course, as we all know, 25 or Main Street is a U.S. highway. It's also an extended weight coal route. So tractors and trailers that have the proper permit can legally travel down Main Street, grossing 126,000 pounds. Most trucks, 80,000 is the limit. But they can operate on Main Street 126,000 pounds.
Do you want them to, though?
Well, they can. I mean, they pay taxes. They have the right to do that.
How much?
126,000. That's a state law, by the
Rolling
way.
down Main Street too fast using Jake brakes because you don't use them unless you're too fast.
No, that's not right, Larry.
Oh,
It's not right.
Down Main Street, yeah, it is.
No, it's not, because let me tell you, give me a good example. Since you haven't driven a truck, I'll tell you all
Yes,
about
I
it.
have.
Oh, you have?
I have.
How long have you had the
But-
CDL? You
This-
haven't?
Not for years, but
Oh,
I have
okay.
driven trucks.
Okay.
But you know what the mayor said a while ago about special interests? You know, these things keep coming up, Justin, and it's an ethical violation for you to vote on a personal interest that you have in things like this. And we're seeing it again and again and again.
A personal interest of myself?
In the trucking business, because you said just a few minutes ago, you own trucks.
Yeah.
Earlier, when we talked about the speed limit, you said you were opposed to that because you drove trucks down Main Street.
No, I'm not opposed.
And
to the
this
speed limit.
abandoned property, some of the people have complained about the property that your family owns.
Larry,
Now, Larry,
This
you're
is ethical.
speaking too much to the council.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
time.
I am. But because.
You are the attorney, and when we asked you a question, is when you're to answer.
No, ma'am, it is not, because before, when the city and tourism got in trouble, and this problem happened with one of the restaurants, you said, you were one of the ones, why didn't you tell us? Well, you never asked me, but that was your position then. So I'm going to be pointing out these things. You can go with them or ignore them.
Well, I think that's a little
If you
bit,
want to ignore it and go ahead and.
It's
commit
one thing to
ethical
give
violations,
us
that's fine.
advice, but to be accusatory or to attack council members.
yeah, and this
no.
has nothing to do with what we're
That's
talking
where it
about.
stops.
Do you want to read the ethics ordinance that you passed that has this?
I'm
language?
just
Well, maybe
telling
you
you, I
should look
don't
at some
like
ethics,
this.
Larry. I mean, you're jumping out and getting on to me over something unrelated to what we're talking
Just
about.
telling you, you can listen to me or ignore me.
Well, I think I'm gonna ignore you right now.
Okay.
So-
I've had several people ask about that, Justin.
Well, that's not me, and that's another subject for another time. We're not talking about that. We're talking about engine brakes on Main Street. Now, we can
Yes.
discuss this at another time. But as I was saying, if you're heading south on Main Street and you come through, you go by A.R. Dyke Cemetery, you have a downhill grade to the red light. You know, that is definitely a spot where you need to use an engine brake because it's a downhill grade to stop the red light. So there are times and places that you would need to use it. I'm not muffled, unmuffled. mean, that's beside the point on this part. But to me, even if you did have an ordinance in place, I don't know how it could even be enforced. I mean, really. I mean, somebody's gonna call in the police because they heard a jailbreak go off. The policeman's gonna run that truck down and give them a ticket. I mean, that was like a complete, wrong allocation for police resources myself, when there's drunk drivers out here and everything else going on. And then two, if it does get a ticket and the driver takes it to court, the judge is gonna throw it out.
It won't go to court, it goes to code enforcement.
So if a truck gets a ticket, it won't be a citation like the police would give out.
This
Is that
is
right?
an ordinance, this is not a state law.
Well, then I don't think we should have the authority to even make one.
Well, you do, under home rule.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard it right, the city of Hyden did put that in place, but they had to take it out.
It's still in effect.
No, it's still in
There's a lot of
effect,
cities
'cause
that have
that's where I
Jake's
got the
breaks.
information from.
Is there any more questions regarding this, though?
My question was, those similar cities of similar size have ordinances like
Yes, they do.
this?
So this
Even
wouldn't-
Lexington
go ahead.
has. Even Lexington has
Yeah.
it. On their main street.
So I'm just curious, like Chuck, how would that work? Like if y'all gave a ticket for something like that, if it's not a state law, can y'all write a ticket?
There's city citations and there's state citations. City citations are written on city ordinances. They don't go before a judge, they go before the city government.
Whatever board we've got to rule on it.
Even a traffic violation like that, or whatever you
Yeah, I
call
mean,
that?
There's a number, like a parking ticket is a city citation.
Okay.
That goes before the city government.
I'm
Does
just
it go,
curious.
I just, not that I'm disputing, does it go to court if somebody says, I just dispute it?
The city, I
Comes in.
think, has a recourse to push it up into the court, but I've never seen it done. Not saying it hasn't
Well, I
been
mean,
done.
it's usually
but
parking
I've
tickets
never-
stuff. I'm just curious.
Only as an appeal.
Yeah.
Any other questions regarding this? Get a motion to approve first reading?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
No.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
No,
Okay. Moving on to the next one is approval of resolution of the City of London, the City Council Annexation Portion. This is portion of the State Route 1006, Old Whitley Road, and State Route 363, Keavy Road.
Each of you have a copy of the resolution. City clerk can read it, unless you all have had a copy of it for some time. You can just by motion a second and a vote approved.
Do you guys need it to be read?
I don't think for me, I don't.
Resolution of the City of London, Kentucky City Council to annex portions of State Route 1006, Old Whitley Road, and State Route 363, Keavy Road. Be it resolved by the City Council of London, Kentucky at a regularly scheduled meeting on May 1st, 2023. Whereas the City Council of the City of London wishes to expand the opportunities for commercial, businesses, and industrial developments and offer the potential for commercial and residential developments in areas near the present city limits, and wishes to make these available by the annexation of portions of State Route 1006 and State Route 363. And whereas the City Council is of the understanding that the property would be adjacent and/or contiguous to the present annexed areas of the City of London, namely London City Ordinance 984. Whereas the City Council is aware that an annexation map meeting the requirements of the Kentucky Secretary of State Land Office and its governing statutes with KRS Chapter 81A is necessary to effect such annexation and for the property to be subject to city taxation. And whereas the City Council is of the initial opinion that such annexation and development would benefit the pre-existing City of London, and seeks input from London city officials, vendors, and representatives, and any other person wishing to provide written comments prior to taking formal action pursuant to KRS Chapter 81A on such potential annexation. Now therefore, the City Council authorizes and directs the mayor, the city clerk, the city attorney, and all relevant city employees, contractors, and any retained surveyor to undertake their best efforts to bring documentation necessary to effect a consensual annexation of the property pursuant to KRS Chapter 81A before the City Council as soon as reasonably possible. Introduced upon motion by City Council member.
Yeah.
That'd be for a motion instead of vote.
I'll make a motion.
Seconded by City Council member,
Stacy.
and thereafter passed by roll call vote with the following city council members voting in favor, and the following city council members, if any, voting against. At a duty convened meeting of the City Council held on this day, first day of May 2023, this resolution shall be lawfully adopted if a majority of a quorum presented of the City Council at such meeting has voted in favor of this resolution, and it is signed by the mayor and attested by the city clerk below. Upon signature and attestation, a copy of this resolution shall be mailed by U.S. Postal Service, first-class mail to the Commonwealth of Kentucky Department of Transportation by the city clerk.
They did a first and second, so you can do a roll call.
Okay, Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is first reading of ordinance number 2023-22. This is the intent to annex area of property off the right-of-way of portion of Kentucky State Route 363 and the 1006. We've got a summary, we're going to read that.
A summary of ordinance number 2023-22 entitled, "An Ordinance of Intent to Annex an Area of Property in the Right-of-Way of a Portion of Kentucky State Route 363, Keavy Road, and a portion of Kentucky State Route 1006, Old Whitley Road." This summary is of ordinance number 2023-22, as named above, is prepared by Larry G. Bryson, who states that he is licensed to practice law in the Commonwealth, and who states that this is an accurate summary of said ordinance. The property that is the subject of this ordinance is depicted on a map, Exhibit A to the ordinance, and is continuous to the present city property annexed by ordinance number 2017-12, Track 1. Ordinance number 984, Track 2 and 3, this property is described by survey in Exhibit B to the ordinance, and both the map and property description were made by the Kentucky Surveys. US 363 and State Route 1006 are owned by the state. In this ordinance, the council makes all the necessary and required findings pursuant to KRS 81A-410 for annexation of the property, and these are listed in detail in full text of the ordinance, which is located at the office of the city clerk of the City of London. Following those findings, the city ordains that the property is intended to be annexed, that notices be provided to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and that the property is depicted on Exhibit B. The ordinance is to be effective upon its publication.
Any questions regarding this one? It's part of that resolution, so I just need approval, first reading. I need a first.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll
Miss-
call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
And then you'll see that we've put all the description of the annexations attached to your guys' packet as well. Next thing is first reading of ordinance number 2023-23, ordinance of rezoning property owned by Envious Properties LLC located at 1207 West Fifth Street.
Commonwealth of Kentucky, City of London, ordinance number 2023-23, an ordinance rezoning property owned by Envious Properties LLC located at 1207 West Fifth Street and amending zoning map. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of London as follows. Whereas the London Planning and Zoning Commission conducted a public hearing on April 27, 2023 in compliance with KRS 100-212. If ZMP advertised the public hearing in the local newspaper on April 12, 2023, and posted a sign on the property on April 12, 2023, and sent letters to the adjoining and adjacent property owners notifying them of the public hearing on April 12, 2023. And ZMP conducted a public hearing on April 27, 2023, in compliance with all the notices and letters, and no person spoke in opposition to the rezoning of this property at the public hearing. After closing the public hearing and conducting its meeting upon motion and seconded and unanimous vote of ZMP members, ZMP made the following findings of fact and recommendation to the this council. That this property presently is split zone, being R2 residential and C2 commercial, and is described in DB 795 P410 records of the Laurel County Court Clerk's Office. And that in keeping with the comprehensive plan, ZMP found that the map amendment for this property is reflecting that the proposed rezoning of the property from a split zone of R2 and C2 to C2 in its entirety is in an agreement with the comprehensive plan, and that the same rezoning should be made because the two zoning uses is inappropriate, and the proposed rezoning classification that the entirety of this property is appropriate due to the major economic development and substantial changes in the area involved were not provided for in the original zoning and or reflected on the comprehensive zoning map. It is therefore ordained and directed that upon recommendation and findings of the City of the London Zoning and Planning Commission, this property be rezoned in its entirety to C2 commercial, and that the zoning map be amended to reflect the same. Any ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are repealed.
Any questions regarding this ordinance? Get a motion to approve first reading.
Motion to approve first reading.
Second.
I'll motion.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Okay, we got the police chief report.
How y'all doing this evening?
Peachy.
I'm gonna do something a little different this time. Instead of standing up here giving y'all a bunch of numbers, I want to talk about some different things. Just rest assured that we are still out working, and our numbers are running about the same as they were last month. But our drug interdiction task force is making significant drug arrests, if not daily, at least 2 or 3 times a week. They've got some big cases going right now. One thing I can't remember if I've told you, probably not, but we have reinstated our major crimes task force. And I don't know, some of y'all may remember years ago when Lodge Holland was chief and Gene Holland was sheriff, we had a major crimes task force which consists of detectives from the London Police Department, Laurel County Sheriff's Office, and the state police. And they anytime there's a major crime such as a murder, serious assault, in some cases some robberies, those detectives from all 3 departments will come out and work that case. And it was hugely successful back then, and I expect nothing less now. It combines the resources and the experience and the manpower of all 3 departments, and that can only benefit the community. So we're excited about that. The next thing I want to tell you about is, and I'm sure if you're on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen something about it, but on May the 20th, we'll be having the Logan Medlock Memorial bass tournament. The community has absolutely been phenomenal with the support that we have already been shown for it with donations and prizes. We're going to pay the first 3 places, or we'll get a cash prize. I think the Big Fish gets a houseboat rental that was donated by Grove Marina, and there's other prizes that will be given that we've been donated. The rest of the funds will, $1,000 will be donated to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and then the rest of the proceeds will go to Logan's widow and son. And we're really excited about it. It looks like it's going to be phenomenal, and we just really want to thank the community for their support thus far. And I'm sure I know 3 or 4 places tomorrow we got to go to pick up donations, so they're continuing to come in, and we greatly appreciate it. And then the next thing is, as soon as that's over with, we're going to start doing the same thing for the Travis Hurley Memorial Golf Scramble that we will be having, I believe, in August. So we'll be begging for donations again for that, and I'm sure that the community will step up again for that. But I just wanted to let the council know about those things, and if there are any questions you have of me, I'd be happy to answer them.
I do have one question. First of all, appreciate you guys, everything you do. But I get this question frequently. I think probably now would be a good time, since our jurisdiction or jurisprudence, where do the lines stop and where do they blur and where?
Okay.
I have no problem with policing. I
Right.
think it's
So
a very necessary thing.
any city above a 5th class city, or maybe 6th class city, any 5th class or above city, the city police agency in that city has countywide jurisdiction. London it used to be called 4th class. I guess it's called common rule.
Home rule.
Home rule, yeah. London Police Department has countywide jurisdiction.
Okay. That clears a lot up. I was aware of some of that, but I get that.
Corbin
so
Police
maybe-
Department has countywide jurisdiction,
yeah,
and
so
I mean,
maybe we can, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had some questions about that.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief. It's a great thing to get behind these donations for the 2 fallen officers and their family too. Support that. You can see, look at the City Police Department's Facebook page for more information. Chief Hacker?
Okay, for the fire department this past month, we had a total of 64 runs. We responded to 20 motor vehicle crashes. We responded to a vehicle fire. We had 13 fire alarms, which thank goodness turned out to be nothing to them, just faulty alarms. 8 EMS calls. During the storm, we had 2 incidents where power lines were down, 1 tree removal. We had 4 grass fires. We encountered an illegal burn. We educated them what they could do, what they couldn't do. Elevator rescue, we had 1 of those. We went into 42 business places, which were doing the whole city, which were required, and done pre-plan on it. While we was there, we done an inspection, looked the building over, and we let them know stuff that they had that they need to look at, and trying to educate them. We had code enforcement with us, checking for business license. We found some that didn't have it, got that up to par. We done a school educational event, and we acquired 512 man hours of training for the month.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate you guys. Street Department.
This month was a very busy month for us. You guys know it was April's free pickup month, so that keeps us hopping. We can fill up a page about every single day of brush and junk. So we didn't get as much concrete work that we wanted to get done, sidewalks and what have you. I think we got about 84 feet this month, but some of those were bigger, like aprons and some driveway entrances and stuff like that were on the right-of-way. So we also got our sidewalk finished up down on Whitley Street, got a handrail put back on that. The guys, it was all done in-house. The guys done a real good job on it. They kind of pitched it out on the table, some chalk, and got a plan together, and it worked out good. We've also completed most of our paving. We got Lovelace, Watts Avenue, Bruce Street, Robinson, North Locust. We still like 7th. We're waiting on the water company. They've got a few more things they've got to do. Then also we're looking at trying to do some sidewalk up Long Street. So it's going to be a little bit before we can finish up 7th Street. We want to let the water companies looking at their stuff to see if they can go ahead and go up Long Street, and they're going to go under the sidewalk, and once they do that, then we're going to pour sidewalk up through there and try to do that without affecting the blacktop, because that street was paved just a few years ago. So that's what we're moving along. And then Randy and myself are scheduled to meet with a rep. I believe they're supposed to get up with us maybe this week. We're going to look at a bridge down on Whitley Street just over the hump from where Larry's office used to be. Me and the mayor's been down there and looked at it. It's got a lot of problems. I've been completely up under it. The ceiling's got a crack in it. It's dropped about 2 inches. So we're going to meet with the state on that. And then we've got a couple of drainage issues on the north end of town. Some of them are related to what we think is coming from the parkway. We've got to get those patched up. We've got one property owner there that's kind of doing us a favor by leaving it open on their property to give it a relief point. So we're trying to get some things lined out and get a plan of action to get some things going on that. And then we're going to also look, once we get 7th Street, we're going to pave 13th Street. And I think that's going to get us close on the budget for this year. And then we'll just, we've got a couple more things we can probably do. We're finishing up the Chinook storm drain. I think we've got to pour the catch basin on it, and then maybe another day or so work, and we'll get that one wrapped up. And then on our mechanic side, our guys in the shop, they completed 72 work orders this month. Like we've talked before, that's planned, unplanned repairs. Some of them are things that are preventive maintenance, others are breakdowns and what have you. They're averaging about 4 or 5 of those a day that they're turning over, which is really good. On the sanitation side, the new side loader truck is out. It's in service. It's working well. The guys seem to think it's going to be a lot more user-friendly and a little easier to maintain. It has a lot less components to go haywire on it. And then also I wanted to note that the Recycle Center received their new skid steer the other day, and that was mostly pretty much, I think, bought with grant money. I want to thank Jim. Told me that the city was only out about $2,000 or $3,000 on that machine, and they've been waiting 6 months on it, I believe. So they have received that, and we need to also ask the council to approve some surplus of an old blacktop roller that we have. We received the new one the other day, and so now we can, if you guys will, we want to surplus that one. I know it's well over 23 years because that's what I was at the commission, and they had it when I came. So it served its life. And then we also have a 2007 F-150 truck that needs to be surplused as well. Yeah, I didn't put that in here, but we had 2 guys that were T-boned at the intersection of 192 and 229 last week. And so we got to take that truck to get an estimate on it tomorrow. It's probably gonna be totaled, I'm imagine. So.
Can we get a motion to approve his surpluses?
Motion to approve.
Second. Kelly, second. Roll call.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Those people that were T-boned, they go,
Yeah, they're all okay. We recommend them go see the doctor, but they said they were okay. They did.
Randy's going to talk to us about advertising for blacktop bids for the 2024.
Just wanted to kind of get a jump on it so we could advertise and get bids for blacktop in July, those around so that we can keep everything going. We've done those streets, we've got more to do on this year's budget. I think we're gonna try to do more than next year's budget, so I'm just trying to get a jump on the, if it's approved, to advertise for those bids on Blacktop.
Can I get a motion approved to open up the blacktop bid?
I make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes.
Ms. Little?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Jervis?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
All right, next thing we have is the subcommittee that we, council approved, and we've been working on sidewalks and streets. I know it's been a late meeting. Briefly, I think Stacy's wanting to go over some of the projects that we're looking at as far as the city goes in the upcoming future.
Yep, and we did prepare, we went through all the neighborhoods in the street and we ranked them by priority, you know, being one of the most serious on there. It's based on who uses them and how much they're used and how bad of shape they're in. I'll go through some pictures if you want to look at some of the.
Thanks, Stacy, you making
Everybody
our
likes
committee,
pictures, huh?
you making my committee look bad, man, doing all this.
Yeah, right.
Fancy computer work.
So this is just 4th Street, I'm sorry, 229 over next to Rolling Acres. That's probably the only damage there. Nothing major. Just a slight hump where that manhole is. This is Center Street, Pearl Street, and Oak Street. This is off of East 4th Street, going up close to where your house is, Mayor. And I'll go through these as I walk up the street. You can see the condition of it. The main importance of this sidewalk is it's the only connector for Pearl Street and Oak Street and Boring Drive to get down to 4th Street to a sidewalk. It's the only way out there, and none of those streets have sidewalks on them. You know, it's an area, as you can see, it's pretty dilapidated. And I went through to show you, I don't mean to go so fast. So this is where Center Street meets West 5th Street, and the reason I say that's an important sidewalk is there's nothing to get up to 5th Street, which your house is at the top of that hill, right there. Just wanted to show you those. And this, one of the recommendations I had, this neighborhood's been here all my life, I don't know what years, and they've never had a sidewalk. And it would be nice if at some point we could apply for grants and maybe give them that area. This is Pearl Street. There's another street right by Oak Street. And there's probably 150, 200 houses up in this area.
Yeah.
You know. All right, let's go to another something else here. So East 3rd Street. This is right by the Federal Building. And I thought it was a pretty unsightly looking sidewalk, pretty unsafe. Something we might want to address. It's somewhere where people see it. It's also the street that connects the Housing Authority, where a lot of people live down in there, and then they come up this way. That's their only access to town. Let's see if there's any.
You don't realize it till you see it like that.
They don't realize it. This is in a section right behind House and Rollins Funeral Home on the same street, on down East 3rd Street. Pretty bad shape. As you can see, pretty much all gone. It's just we have a lot of old sidewalks that's never been looked at. Let's go to the next one. 4th Street, only a couple places, believe it or not, I've got a good sidewalk. But it's just, this is the only bad spot. This is where tourism built the building. Probably needs to be fixed there. They obviously busted up the sidewalk. I don't know if it was tourism. I don't know who built the building, but tourism occupies it right now. So just wanted to point that out. And one area that needed to be probably mostly cleaned off. I think the jail used to take care of it a long time, but they haven't done that in several years. East 5th Street, again where you live, as you can see, 3 or 4 pretty dilapidated spots.
Is that consistent down the whole street or
It only
just,
runs from Willow to Hill Street. The sidewalk does there, and that was
but
that
the
section of.
but the damaged sidewalks, are they consistently all the way through that street?
So what I did in here, Mayor, we put a description and with the recommendations on there, priority, of the ones that need to be fixed in recommendations, what you could do. This is 9th Street. Where the hospital is.
Mhm.
You see the lot there. And one kind of embarrassing part, this is next to our, I call it the Christmas Tree Park. It's here,
Town Center.
Town Center Park, that little section there. Probably needs to be rebuilt, probably needs to be raised up. It looks like people have been driving over it when they turn in there, and that's probably what's busted it up over the years. But I mean, since we use that area a lot. Let's see if there's any. So this is Fall Street. Which is pretty bad shape. Most of Fall Street out to where it connects 16th Street together, it makes a circle back around to town. Most of that section was in pretty good shape, except for a few sections. This is really close to Sue Bennett in this area. See if I can zoom up on that. As you can see, almost unusable. So Merrill Street, that's where that real dead end curve is on Fall Street. Zoom back out of it.
The more densely populated the area, the worse the sidewalk. What I'm getting out of this.
Yes. As you can see there, sidewalk's broken off. Pretty well gone. But anyway, that's an area. That's the only really bad section of Fall Street. But it's pretty much unusable in that curve. And at some point, I guess we're planning on redoing that road, hopefully in the future.
Mhm.
And that's the blind curve that had the mirror on it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much unusable. And let's see if I can remember any of the worst ones. I'll make this fast. There's no pictures on Hampton and Carter, just a recommendation. This is what you were just talking about, I think. This is behind Mill Street Park.
Mhm.
I don't know who's responsible for the walls, but it's pretty unsightly. If you turn this way, you'd just be looking at Mill Street Park. I'll go fast. So, I don't know if the pictures do this justice. This is at the top of McWhorter Street Hill. It's an old sidewalk, been there for years. I'll see if I can get a picture to show you just how. Hey, you see there, it's pretty much unusable at this point. That's about how much it slants. The hills wash it off. This goes up to Randy's section of town. Anyway, I put that as a pretty high priority. It hasn't been fixed in years. Let's see. This is a section that's about to wash out on Morgan Street, which is where you turn by Philpott Tire, crossing the graveyard. You can't see in the pictures, but underneath there, the sidewalk's floating, just hanging on rebar. Probably needs to be addressed. And going on down the street, as you can see, there are sections that don't have sidewalk. This is a rear connector to Rolling Acres and all that area in there. There's probably a connection to 300 homes in that section, so it's used quite a bit. There's about 4 or 5 of these bridges around town. Probably only one of them that's worth keeping the way it is. 4 of them probably need to be rebuilt. I mean, they're at least 25, 30 years old, soft, as you can see underneath the supports have fallen out of them. This is the one I think you just mentioned, North Long Street. As you can see, the condition. And that's the one you said you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
That's got 3 historical homes right above it. Pretty unsightly. It's right in the middle of our town. Obviously not safe to use. I got a couple more. So on North McFadden Lane, this is the part of the Housing Authority. North McFadden turns off of 3rd Street. This is the part of the Housing Authority that's all elderly and handicapped folks. And if you look down here, you can see it from the pictures. If you go down the bottom of the hill, it's probably 500 feet from the top of the hill to the bottom, and that's where the sidewalk starts. They don't have anything there.
Mm-hmm.
I consider that a high priority and something that hopefully we could look at. And I did call the Housing Authority to see if they might share in the cost. Maybe we could put a sidewalk there. Those people kind of get overlooked in that area, sort of the side of town we forget. And there's several homes on up in that area. At the
Where
end
is
of
this
it.
at now?
It's McFadden Lane by the Housing Authority.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Scott Street Apartments.
Yeah. We need to add Rubin Street on there by, like you're going up to, behind the old Shell station at the barber shop company.
I went and looked at that today. Yeah.
Okay. That
Pretty
retaining
bad,
wall's moving quite a bit.
Yes, yeah, it is.
That's bad, dangerous, no guardrail there.
Yeah, we talked about it
Yeah,
today. I don't know.
that's something definitely needs to be added to the list.
I'd hate to go off the side of that hill.
Be a bad day.
This is Mill Street right across from the car wash. The wall's falling in. And obviously that sidewalk's not usable right now. Maybe it could just be cleaned and the wall pushed back up. This is heading up toward 1st Street where Larky's is. As you can see, I can't remember the businesses there, the sign company's there. Of course, that old car wash. Now, a couple more. South Dixie Street is that's right up from Larry's office. That's where 1st Street joins South Dixie. Pretty broken up in there. This is coming down to Whitby Street, as you can see. Pretty unusable. So this is next to Veterans Park, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but underneath this sidewalk, it's starting to sag, and the dirt's washing out from underneath it. It's probably this is right next to the entrance to Veterans Park. I don't know what to do to fix it, but it's getting to that point. You can see it sagging.
Hey, I don't want to stop you here a minute. Well, since you're talking about this, I was just speaking of that area. We may have mentioned it before, but that area looks like it could probably use a guardrail right there. I don't know if we could do. I know it looks, every time you drive down through there, I see all those people walking around. I thought, God, if somebody went off there, they could really.
Yeah, some of the people.
Contacted the state over that from the last meeting, and they said it doesn't qualify to lower the speed limit car to the curb guardrail.
Oh,
Have certain requirements on the angle, the grade of that slope and stuff, and they said it.
And we've tried to
Really?
repair a couple sections there, but. for the
Keeps
fall,
washing
it's
off.
got to be graded.
My thought on some of this is,
I mean-
and y'all did it, I don't know who's on this, me, but y'all did it, I joked around a while ago, but you did an outstanding job on this. Some of these places no longer need a sidewalk, in my opinion. There's a few of them, not many, but some of them. The one
Yeah.
that a few slides back there.
There could be.
There's a few.
And I put them as low priority if it was a wide street. It wasn't used a lot where people walking that way to the street.
You would not save some money by just taking it up.
Yeah, and we'll try to get this information posted on the website as well. The subcommittee is Justin, Stacy, and Kelly, and they've done a really great job of reporting a lot of these situations that the city needs to address.
Yeah, okay. This is the bridge right in front of Southeastern Farm Supply. I don't know if they've knocked it over, but it's another one of those about to go in that area. I'll go through them fast. Anyway, that's the bulk of them. Let me see if I can find just the worst ones for you. No. A little spot, Spring Street, probably needs a guardrail back on that curve. Used to be a bad place for wrecks. They had a guardrail at one time, took it away, put in speed bumps, and the speed dumps went to crap. Sorry. They got bad, so they blacktopped the road, and now it's smooth again. So it's just a matter of time.
Did you repeat that?
Can't say crap.
I guess not. I don't know. I guess not.
It's like
All right,
TikTok.
I'm going fast. Real quick. This is by First Baptist Church. Bridge is gone. Justin and I got on it. You could bounce on it. So it's very narrow. And as you can see, the
Get canceled. Let's go get him
pretty
canceled.
rough, rotten. The supports are about to come out from under it. This is by First Baptist Church. Pictures don't do it justice. It's about like almost unusable. This is from First Baptist Church after the computer place. And, as you can see there, it's falling off. Probably a high priority. As you know, this intersection is getting ready to be in part of the new project that the state's getting ready to do. For whatever reason, the sidewalk just ends here. I never did know why. It doesn't go over to Myers Baker, and then you have to walk through grass for a while. So, and it would be better on West Fifth Street if it was.
Sidewalk to nowhere.
Yeah. But if
We
anybody's
have
walking
several
the
of
street,
those
you
spots
have to
that the
cross
sidewalk
it.
goes nowhere.
Yeah, we've got some. You have to cross it 3 times. It's a dangerous road. It probably doesn't get used that
And
much.
that's going to be addressed in the state project.
Yeah,
Okay.
it needs to be on one side of
Dad
the
must
road.
have took a nap
I
on
think they just did it because it was less expensive at the time. Right. Yeah.
That was just.
Yeah, I'm not
kind of
picking on your
Ran
dad,
out-
okay?
Somebody ran out of money. That's a good example right there.
I know you want me to finish. Let's just do one more. West 16th Street, we went out there. There's a bridge that needs replaced. by the housing authority, just like the other one. Okay, I won't get into detail there. Whitley Street's the last one, okay, last one, I'll be done. That's where you took your picture the other day. My recommendation, and I'm sure other people agree with me, as you can see on the other side of the street, it's got the little sidewalk that just kind of goes into nothing there, the dirt. And
Yeah,
that's,
so
that's life at your own, you take your life in your own hands crossing.
Yeah, so we've actually, me and Phillips on this right here about that bridge, and then extending the sidewalk on the right-hand side of the road. So
Right-hand side of the road.
We're talking to the state about that.
And I was
Yeah, and we're
gonna
gonna
say,
see
I
what they
mentioned
say.
there's about 7/10 of a mile of road there that needs to be fixed, is all.
Yeah.
So you're already working on that.
Yeah. We've already
I
talked
just
to the
didn't think we
state,
should,
emailing back and forth regarding that street.
I didn't think we should waste any money on sidewalk until maybe we could incorporate it at the same time they do it, because the sidewalk's really close to the road at Whitley Street. And it was a popular street to walk on. For a lot of people, and I think they've kind of quit on that one. All right. Yeah. Make sure I didn't miss one. Something I wondered, that's what I meant for a crossing. If you cross there at Mill Street, you could get over the
Yeah.
sidewalk and then you could go on out. Most of Whitley's in pretty good shape when you get to Veterans Park and start going up the hill, just to that section. And that's it
Okay.
for now.
Now,
Thank you, sir.
one thing I was gonna say, I don't know, I can't remember if I mentioned to you or not, Philip, but, some of the sidewalks, they're not broke, but where the expansion joint is, like they've sunk. I guess over time, maybe the gravel had eroded away. So they're not busted, but they're uneven. So I know that there's a process of drilling a hole in it, putting foam in it, you can raise it back up. I don't know what that cost or what it would cost us to get the stuff to do that, or maybe find a contractor that can do that, but that would have to be cheaper than ripping them out and repouring them.
Or grinding them off.
It's just hydraulic jacket.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a bunch of them like that.
It looked like you drilled holes in it and you sprayed foam and it just raised it up. Yeah. There was a lot of them that were just sunken. A lot of the sidewalks in decent shape. And I made a hard copy for you. We made if you want to just keep it so it's a reference.
Stacy, did you all sort of prioritize?
We did, and I didn't go through the descriptors because it's late, but every page, every section starts out with a description of what we saw and what we think needs to be fixed.
He told me what they
Some
did.
recommendations. We didn't get a chance to put prices together because that's
Nah, that's something we'll take care of. We appreciate the subcommittee for taking care of.
All right. That may keep us late, but thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your hard work. We've got a subcommittee as well that consists of the other three council members where they are on the community center committee. And they're working hard and due diligent, and we hope to have their findings within the next month or so. But I was with them the other day as well. So we really appreciate the council and your guys' subcommittees focusing on what the city needs. I truly appreciate it, and I know the girls at City Hall do too, and the staff across the city. And of course, the citizens will, because we're getting things done in the city. Is that everything, you guys?
I would just like to say, we have the best road department.
We do.
We really do. And they're awesome, and they're so good to get out as quick as they can to fix whatever needs fixed. So
And I'll add to that, they don't get the respect they deserve for, a lot of people don't realize when you go drive down the street, what it takes to keep all that in good shape. But they do an excellent job.
Y'all keep on, it'd be one
Yes.
parade.
Yeah, you got.
Well, we was about to ask you for one.
Set up, that was set up.
We have a great staff across the city, and the street department and sanitation, they're wonderful, and I'm really happy to be a part of this team. So,
Yeah.
anything else? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
There's somebody, just put somebody down,
And
we'll
roll
be
call.
happy to.
Mr. Philpott?
Yes, let's get out of there.
Ms. Little?
Done it.